we're going to do a comparison between these two completely unknown microphones, the Shure SM7B and the Blue Yeti. Not many people have heard of these, but I figured I would give them a little bit of an expose so you can decide which one sounds best and which one you should buy for your content creation journey. So in this video, I'm recording both mics simultaneously, and I'll be switching back and forth between them. And I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to show you which mic is which, or whether I'll leave it up to you to see if you can hear the difference and comment below. But I don't know, I might just tell you which is which. Okay, can you see my cat? I hope you can see. What a douchebag. So in this video, audio is unprocessed except for being loudness normalized. Both mics will be set to the same loudness in DaVinci Resolve. When and if I apply some audio processing, I'll let you know down here somewhere. One other thing about the SM7B is it has a couple of different voicings or presets on the back of the mic that you can switch. So it's got a high pass filter, or I guess a bass cut. Is that the right way to say it? And then it also has a presence boost, or you can just leave it in flat. So that's what I have it recording in right now. So none of those are switched on for this video. Of course, everybody's heard of these mics. I was just kidding at the beginning because I'm a real funny guy. But this isn't exactly a fair comparison. We have a $400 dynamic XLR mic versus a $130 condenser USB mic. However, they're both objectively good microphones that have been extremely popular with content creators of all stripes and spots for many, many years. And I just wanted to ask, do you really need to give up your Yeti? If you've been using the Yeti for a while, is there a reason to upgrade to something like the Shure SM7B? Or can you just keep using your Yeti? All of your naysayers and haters be damned. Audio quality is one thing, but there's a couple other factors which differentiate these mics, and some different things that you have to come to grips with if you're deciding between the two, or if you want to maybe upgrade from the Yeti to the Shure SM7B. One of those is
condenser mic versus dynamic mic.
And I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. So if you don't know the difference between the two types of microphones, a dynamic mic like the SM7B does not require power, so no electricity to run it, and it's activated essentially by sound waves in the atmosphere. For that reason, it needs a loud source of audio. On the flip side, you don't have to be super loud, but you just need to be close to them in order to get enough of a signal. Condenser mics, on the other hand, are powered. They require electricity. In the case of the USB Blue Yeti, it's getting power from your computer. And as a result, condenser mics are more sensitive, so they don't need such a loud source, and you don't have to be really close to them, and it's still going to pick up a decent amount of volume. Okay, so that's one half of the equation when considering condenser and dynamic. The other half is, since a dynamic mic like this is much less sensitive than a condenser mic, they're much better at rejecting or not even picking up ambient noise like your cat jumping on the desk. So as a result, if you are, whatever content you're creating, if you don't have a well-treated, like acoustically treated room, or there's just a lot of noise, like if your kid is screaming in the other room, or the neighbor's like blowing leaves or something like that, the condenser mic will be much more apt to pick up that noise, whereas the dynamic mic, it might still pick up the noise, but it'll just be quieter. So let's do a couple of tests just to compare how these mics pick up different sounds. First, we're going to do a distance comparison. So right now, I think I'm talking at a reasonable distance, something that a lot of people would be doing. So I'm about a little less than a hand's length away from the front of the Shure SM7B. Now keep in mind that with the Shure SM7B, oh, it's not that easy to take this windscreen off. The actual mic capsule is a few inches from the front of the mic. So even though I'm a few inches from the front of the mic, I'm still several inches beyond that from the actual capsule. With the Blue Yeti, I'm about 10, 11 inches away from it. So let's back off. So now I'm about a foot away from the SM7B, and maybe 13, 14 inches from the Blue Yeti, and I'm just talking and you can hear how that sounds. Now I backed up to maybe 2.5 feet from the SM7B and the same distance from the Blue Yeti, and you can hear how that sounds. And now I am probably 3 feet away from both mics, and you can, oh wait, I should probably not raise my voice. So I'm about 3 feet away from both mics, and you can hear how that sounds. You are such a jerk. So now let's do an off-axis comparison.
The Kimchi Poetry Machine is powered by open source tangible computing. When the jar is open, poetry audibly flows from it, and readers and listeners are immersed in the meditative experience of poetry. Small kimchi Twitter paper poems are housed inside the jar, with each poem... What? That doesn't make any sense. With each poem is printed in... Oh, there we go. The Kimchi Poetry Machine is powered by open source tangible computing. When the jar is open, poetry audibly flows from it, and readers and listeners are immersed in the meditative experience of poetry. Small kimchi Twitter paper poems are housed inside the jar, with each poem... What? That doesn't make any sense. With each poem is printed an... Oh, there we go. Grammar. With each poem is printed an invitation to tweet a...
And I have my keyboard. I'm going to slide this over a little bit and do a little typey type. So we're just doing a sound comparison, but if you are trying to decide between these mics if you should buy one or the other, here's a couple other things that you should consider. The Blue Yeti is a USB mic that comes with this stand, comes with a USB cable, that's pretty much it, but that's all you really need. So if you have a computer, you're pretty much in business. The SM7B, on the other hand, comes with the mic, comes with a yoke attached to it that you can put onto a stand, and it also comes with a bigger, puffier windscreen. And that's pretty much it. So what are you going to need for the Shure SM7B? Well, you're going to need an audio interface like the one I showed you before, this Audient Evo 4. You're also going to need XLR cables. And potentially, with the Shure SM7B, you might need something called an inline preamp. A popular one that a lot of people get is this guy here, the Cloud Lifter. And then you also need a mic stand or a boom arm or something like that. So all in, you're at $130 for the Blue Yeti, $400 for the microphone, plus say $100 for the preamp, depending on which kind you get. They run from anywhere between $50 to $150, and then however much you decide to spend on your audio interface, that one is $130. So we're looking at $650, $700, $800 for this Shure SM7B. Now another thing too, depending on what kind of content you're producing, if you're the only one in your thing, whatever it is you're doing, it's only you can go with a USB mic. But if you're doing something like a podcast and you have multiple people that you're trying to record in the same space, you can really only plug in one USB microphone to a computer at a time. An audio interface usually will come with more than one XLR input. You have more flexibility if you go XLR and you want to run a show with multiple people on it. The Blue Yeti does, however, have one trick up its sleeve in that you can change the polar pattern or the pickup pattern of the mic. So right now it's in cardioid, which is what you would want to do for recording yourself. These are both in, cardioid microphones, but this has all other patterns. So you can actually set it to pick up sound from either side of the mic. So if you did have two people that you wanted to record, you could potentially do that with the Yeti with just one mic. And then it has like a stereo pattern, and then it also has like a 360-degree pattern. So if you even wanted to record multiple people sitting around a table, you could do that with the Blue Yeti. Is it going to give you as good results as you would with like discrete microphones for each guest? Probably not, but it is something that you can do. And you can always try it out. And if it sounds good, then you only spend $130. And if it doesn't sound good, then you can decide what you need to do after that. This video is a little bit all over the place, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how these microphones sound on my voice, and you can decide for yourself if you can even tell them apart, or which one maybe you preferred the Yeti. That's all well and good. Audio is pretty subjective, so different people have different tastes, and different mics work well on different voices. So the SM7B might not be the right choice for your voice, and maybe the Yeti sounds better, or maybe another mic sounds better. So In the comments, if I decided not to tell you which mic is which, please leave your thoughts, your guesses or whatever in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what you thought and which microphone you thought sounded better. But just don't bash one or the other. I mean, seriously, we're comparing the Blue Yeti, the venerable Blue Yeti. It's everybody's trusted best friend who gets into content creation. I think lots of us start out on the Blue Yeti. And then this one, which goes without saying is a well-respected and widely used microphone across multiple industries. So, and yeah, if you have any questions, any other suggestions, any other comments, obviously, you know what to do with them. And as always, thanks for watching and see you in another video.